Peace. In the name of Allah, I'm Aubrey Muhammad. I pray that everyone is well. Facebook, family, and friends, welcome to my live session. It's called the Uncanny Opposition Towards Reparations for Native Black Americans. I hope everybody's Sunday is well. It's very cold out. Decided to stay in. While I'm here, let me give an update on Mom's court date. As you know, again, that is March 13th, 2023. That's when the trial begins. We've secured some funds for a private lawyer. That's very helpful, but we need more to secure the case eviction and other expenses, because it's sad, you know, they truly are striving to evict her. So we need to show community support. All right, that's Hempstead District Court, 99 Main Street, March 13th, 2023. That's nearly 3 months from now. So we got plenty of time. Let's rally, get it together, and organize. Because, like I say, it was sad how that legal aid was working with the owners of Avalon to evict Mom. They were working with them. Those courts are fixed. This is my 48-hour fast. At the end of each week, I fast for 48 hours, and I've been doing that for decades. Once a week, 48 hours at the end of each week. Initially, it used to be 72 hours a month, which we still do. It's a national fast. We do that. And I'm looking forward to, oh, there we go. Okay, good. I just have to make sure the stream is coming through. You know, we do a national fast. I can set this here. A national fast every month, 3 days, 72 hours to clean you out. It feels good. Because when you're eating the right foods, if you eat one meal a day, you start throwing on pounds. I'm 200 pounds. I'm overweight. I'm looking thin in the face. I look nice and fit in the face now because this is the second day of the fast. But when you laxing up and you ain't active as you used to be, you eat one meal a day, people used to cringe over that. Oh, I can't go one meal a day without the food. I must have food, yeah, but after a while, your system gets used to it, your metabolism gets used to it, you start throwing on pounds, gaining weight. Every day, you should eat a multivitamin, a good raw, organic, veggie multivitamin with all your vitamins, also vitamin D and vitamin C. Take that. I haven't had a sniffle in 2 years. My brother Robert Fletcher told me that last time we met. He said, man, I've been taking that vitamin C, vitamin D. I haven't had a sniffle, and I haven't either. I used to always get nasal congestion every year. I anticipated it. I would be ready for it. Nasal congestion with that dark phlegm right about this time for 2 to 3 days. When I stopped taking those Robitussin and that Vicks and that cough syrup, back in the 90s I used to do that. In the 80s and the 90s, I stopped in the 90s. In the late 90s, I stopped taking the cough syrup. And I used to take the cough drops, like almost like a breath mint. The cough, you know, the Vicks cough drops with the menthol. They were very stimulating. I cut all that out. Then I stopped getting those 1 week to 2 week flus, colds and flus. I had colds and flus for like, I would be bedridden some years. You know, 3 to 5 days. And then the flu would hit every year. And I would take more of that medication, the cough syrup. And in the 90s, the late 90s, I stopped that. And the most I would get a year is the nasal congestion. That's the dark phlegm, the dark yellow phlegm. And then I would cough maybe, that would be 2-3 days. Low fever, it's over. And then when the pandemic hit and everybody started coming up with these suggestions, the hot water with lemon, vitamin C, vitamin D, and other remedies and stuff, and healing herbs and everything to offset the virus, to make your body not for a virus. I started taking that daily, the vitamin C, vitamin D, and ever since then, I haven't had a sniffle. That stuff is just gone from me. And I also take the multivitamin, vitamin C, vitamin D, and we should do this as a regular diet regime. Turmeric, you can take the turmeric powder or raw turmeric root, chop it up in food, but you must use turmeric in like fat, coconut oil, or with your food. And that's what's in curry that makes it yellow. That's the turmeric and cumin. And I also take black seed oil, turmeric, ginger. I make ginger tea, and I chop up some ginger, put it in good food. That stuff it works on you. Take that every day. And a multivitamin in a navy bean, so that way when you fast from the food, your body will have vitamins and minerals, and it'll get you through. You won't be so drained with stuff. You'll be more reserved, but you still have that energy and power. Now the second update is Tuesday. Join us in Hempstead Village Hall, 6:30 for the Village Hall meeting. We must stop the gentrification plan in Hempstead. It is racist, it is classist, and it's displacing us. It's destroying generational wealth. Gentrification is one of the most destructive, long-term, it's logistical, economic warfare on Native Black America. It displaces us, it displaces our homes, we lose our small businesses, we cannot create generational wealth. We become nomadic. We become a nomadic pool of laborers and consumers. Miseducated, no foundation, nowhere to settle down. That's what gentrification is, and that's going on in Hempstead now. 20 years they've been displacing us. But then racist tax breaks for wealthy outside apartment owners, taking all that money they save to educate their own, send their children to colleges, buy fine homes, fine cars, start their own businesses on the North Hills and the other neighboring towns, while we foot the bill for their luxury lifestyle because they have generational wealth. They can take loans out on their house, second mortgages and all that, and just waxing fat rich because they have generational wealth, because they have politicians protecting them. Our politicians, they're not our politicians, but our local politicians protect outside interests. They look out for them because they're scared of them. They ain't scared of us. So let's come on out Tuesday, 6:30, Hempstead Village Hall for the village board meeting. We will be expressing ourselves against this gentrification plan that is displacing local residents who've been here for generations, local business owners who lost their businesses, losing their homes, being displaced, all through a racist gentrification plan that have given away 32 acres of parking lots thus far. 32 acres of valuable land have been stolen by these developers. And those developers have taken that land that they've stolen and they're selling it now to current developers that's coming in, that's helping them with the scheme. But we must stop this, to create our own and make our community vital for ourselves, to invest in ourselves, build our own cultural centers, our own convention centers, come up with our own trade, our own products, create our own industry. We can do it. We have the resources. We have the talent. We're the most talented people on the planet. That's a perfect statement for me to segue into my subject on the Uncanny opposition to reparations for Native Black Americans. We're the most talented people in the world. We built America from scratch ever since the 1600s. Actually, we've been here the 1500s. We were here before then, Native Black people in the Western Hemisphere. That number, I believe, is like 40-something% of the Western Hemisphere was black. And it was people from different parts of the world anyway, Polynesia. Some of our people came from the Nile Valley. The scientists, the builders, the architects, the masters, the Olmecs, the Moors. These were all our people. These were the great-grand people that spread civilization and built pyramids that complement the planet. And we complimented the people we met. And contrast that with the Caucasian out of Europe. The European, when he came, he raised hell, he razed and destroyed everything. Everything he touched, he destroyed. And he subdued us who were here, murdered us by the millions through smallpox. That's chemical, biological germ warfare. Putting mercury in our paint, the face paint. They put mercury in that. Would you believe that? You know the red ochre we use for the face paint? The native people in the Western Hemisphere, this diabolical Caucasian, he put mercury in that red paint. And we put it on our face and died and don't know why we died. Most of our people knew. They call it the white man disease. It's sexually transmitted disease, it's homosexuality, it's germ warfare, and his dirty ways. Most of our people saw him coming. Don't you know they had prepared for Europeans coming? They put mint leaves under their nose because they couldn't take the smell of that man. He was so disgusting and diabolical and vile and dirty and low down. And nothing have changed. He had become cosmopolitan. And we literally are the ones who civilized him up in Europe, the Moors. And after we fell, he came over here. And what did he do? He subdued us. We were sailing over here. Columbus said, "There's black people I see on boats coming over here." He knew who we were. All of them did. They kept it a secret. And when they got over here, some of us was here. And then in the 1500s, they brought us from the west coast of Africa. They brought mainly superstitious of our people who believed his trick that we get more gold for our labor. And he kidnapped us. Some of our people betrayed us over there. Some of our chiefs did. They just came out with the movie The Homie. They betrayed us. They owe us to Africa. They know who we were. We are divine people. We had a nation of Judah over there. It was on the 1700s map, the nation of Judah on the west coast of Africa. We had a nation of Judah that came from the Nile Valley. White people ran us out of there thousands of years ago. Check on the Diab brought that up. He spoke Wolof language. He was from the Wolof tribe in Senegal. And he would go out into the woods with the wise people in the griot, and he saw hieroglyphs carved into the trees. Check on the Diab. And he interpreted a lot of those sayings. A lot of that the hieroglyphs he saw carved into the trees in the forest, because that's where the wise men would go to teach, to pass on the knowledge. And he was one of those that did it. In the west coast of Africa, we had the nation of Judah. And guess who rounded us up? the wonderful woman tribe of Dahomey. And after they rounded us up and sold us as slaves, the next map that came out was the nation of Judah was missing. Judah. We were that nation. It was a small nation. But that was us, some of us. We were the mighty tribe of Shabazz. We were universal people. We were all over the planet. But we were here in our unique ways. They rounded us up here, those of us that were here, and those of us they kidnapped from the west coast of Africa and East Africa, some, but they took a lot of us from the west coast and brought us here, mainly in the Caribbean, South America, but then from the Caribbean they brought us up here, mainly. And they mixed us all together on plantations. And they held us hostage on plantations for hundreds of years to build America into an apex superpower. We did that. They have that myth that immigrants built America. That's a lie. America was built off the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors that they enslaved for hundreds of years. In return, didn't pay us, but gave us the worst treatment of any peoples in the annals of human history. They built America into a mountain of gold. America got the largest gold reserve, 8,000 something tons. A ton is 2,000 pounds. And all of it is stolen. All of it is stolen property. And immigrants that come over after the 1900s, after 1900, all immigrants that came didn't come honorably and for a noble cause. They came as opportunists to get more gold for their labor than the country they were in, which more than likely America undermined. So we were captured by the millions. We built the country. They held us hostage on plantations, mills, and all type of exploitative arenas. Terrorized us, robbed us of our name, culture, language, religion, our God. Took our dignity, No other people suffered that. 400 years they did that. That's the fulfillment of the prophecy of the seed of Abraham. There will be strangers in the land that's not theirs for 400 years. And they will come out with abundance. We will come out with abundance and a grace because we will remain dutiful. That we're the only people that fit that description. We are the chosen people. We built the country and got nothing for it. Now, when I say the uncanny opposition, because you would expect these Caucasians that rule America, the whites that rule America, from them 256 families out of Europe, them blue bloods, that run the banking system, that run the industry and the miseducation, that rule that. We expect opposition from them. No, we don't want to pay you. We didn't own any slaves. You can understand that. Because they're demonic. They're evil as hell, diabolical. To go and disgrace a human being, enslave a human being the way they did, raped us daily, beat us, terrorized us daily. For hundreds of years, they felt nothing about it. They numbed to our suffering. They're like aliens from another planet, how they treated us. With no sense of shame. They justified it to themselves since they were numb to inflicting pain on us, but they got a thrill out of it, and did it for fun and sport. They hunted us for sport. No other people got this history. They used our babies as gator bait. They raped our children. They had parlors where they're pedophiles. They practice bestiality. They practice the most disgusting things that a human being could think of. Most Elijah Muhammad said, you cannot fathom the mind of Satan. This is why many of us don't associate with this in slavery and connect to our ancestors through the descendants, because we're ashamed of it. There was a lot too much pain was associated with that. We were escaping that. We wanted to get away from that. Being terrorized every day. A permanent underclass. You're nothing but a slave. The scourge of the earth. The lowest caste in this nation. So we're ashamed of that. We tried to get away from that. For hundreds of years, they did that to us. And they took that excess and they invested it in themselves. Then they lie and say, oh, we freed you. There wasn't no freedom of slavery. The South was waxing fat. Cotton was king. And the North was jealous and envious of the exploitive labor the South had. So they wanted to end it, to start bringing in immigrants from Europe, to give them a fair chance at work, a fair pay. How could they compete against slave labor? The same thing is happening today. You're bringing immigrants from South America, Central America, Mexico, who are willing to do menial jobs and lowly jobs for almost nothing. $50 a day, $75 a day you could pay an undocumented immigrant. And they do the work diligently. It used to be $50, it probably still is. You could probably get less. And they're willing to do it. Well, that's what happened to us. We were the cheap labor. We were the menial labor. Talking about at slavery. You could buy us and work us to death the rest of your life. You could buy a slave. Those of us that were enslaved, we aren't slaves. We were enslaved. We are the gods in essence. They enslaved us. You bought your slave, you could do whatever you wanted to do. Go watch the movie Django Unchained. Calvin Candy, that slave master, he was talking to Django. He was in the parlor, and our sister, I forgot her name, who played Hildy, the character, he captured her. He had that bounty hunter, the dentist, and Django was sitting at the table, and his lawyer was sitting at the table, and Samuel Jackson was back there as, I forgot the slave name he had, the Uncle Tom name he had. Samuel, it wasn't Samuel, it was Sam. It was something, I forgot his name. He played the Uncle Tom. And they were all in that parlor at the dinner table, and he said, I do with my property as I please. He could have killed her right there, and no consequences. We were property. The North couldn't compete with that. You had to pay labor to their workers. So that's why they tried to bring the union together to stop it as a union. And only when Lincoln took 2 losses, that was the magnificent generals Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson. They had serious victories in the South, and Europe was going to recognize them as a confederacy, as an independent nation. And once that recognition came, Lincoln previously had it as unification, and he's going against secession that happened down West Point. General Robert E. Lee was a prefect of West Point. He was a wise military strategist and genius. And after them 2 major victories, Europe was recognizing the Confederacy as a nation. They can get funded, they can get weapons, they can get promised trade contracts to trade that cotton and mercantile from the Mississippi Delta. That was the biggest industry in the world. After Europe was beginning to recognize the Confederacy, when they would start negotiating with them, then Lincoln said the Civil War is about slavery. We abolishing slavery. Then they said it. That's when he said it, because he didn't care nothing about us. It was exploitative labor. All that exploitation shows you how valuable that was. For hundreds of years, we built America into a mountain of gold and a superpower. Immigrants did not start coming. You couldn't immigrate to America. Why would you come over to America in the 1800s? If you was a black person coming over to America in the 1800s, you would be enslaved. You may wind up on a slave auction. What part of the world are you coming from? Unless you were a diplomat. It's kings in Africa that were rounded up, princes in African tribes. Princes of African tribes that were rounded up and sold into slavery. So in the after emancipation and the Civil War, with all these immigrants coming, then you came over to start. The country was already built. The capital was Philadelphia initially. Excuse me, was it New York, then Philadelphia, then Washington, D.C., right? But eventually, when it got together and then immigrants came adding on, you came additionally into the industrial age. But that America was well built and on its way. It was a premier power in the world. That was the essence of the Civil War. It was economics. And economics was a free labor of subjugated and black people held hostage on plantations and mills and other exploitive arenas. Now, out of all that wealth, we didn't get anything. After 1860, they promised us, 1865, general order, that was Sherman that gave that general order to give us $50, 40 acres, and a mule, an army mule, as compensation in Georgia and South Carolina. That was supposed to be our reparations. The Confederates took it back. The Confederates got reparations. White slave masters got reparations. Just like in Haiti, the French. After they were defeated by the French for independence, the French exploiters and colonists got reparations. Haiti almost paying that off now. But we never got anything. So now, if you see on the screen behind me, this is reparations in the United States. Those are a lot of America government institutions, religious institutions, and other organizations have paid reparations over 60 times. Mainly it was to Native Americans. The biggest one I think was 800 something million for land, and a lot of land settlements and cash settlements, over 60 times. And with black people, some of those settlements were like the Tuskegee experiment with syphilis, where the eugenists put syphilis on us and spread it amongst us. Those survivors, 100 something, got reparation payments. Those are small claims reparations. We have a big claim. The big one is is since the 1500s, especially since 1776 on to the 1600s, which was very exploitive in slavery, all the way to 1865 chattel slavery, all the way up to the 1900s and even up to now. But still, that chattel slavery, that is a unique claim. Native black Americans who, by the millions, were held hostage on plantations, built the country into an apex superpower and a premier economic powerhouse and military force, haven't been compensated. So we're making a claim. 500 million acres of land. That's a couple of states. 500,000 for each person, Native Black American. That is Native foundational Black American freedmen. When I say Native Black Americans, that's what I'm talking about. Those of us who've been here hundreds of years building the country since its inception and haven't been compensated. We went through emancipation, went through Jim Crow, black codes, exploitive sharecropping, and all type of injustices. We went through it all. You owe us land. Africa even owes us land. You owe us 400 million acres of land. Africa, our African people owe us that. And we do dual citizenship, just like Israel. Jews get reparations from America. The American government, they get cash, and they also get, I think it's a $4 billion a year funding for Israel, the state of Israel. And they have dual citizenship with our 500 million acres. And then we need a couple of 100,000 acres in the Caribbean islands. The Caribbean also includes South America, the north coast of South America, and Central America. That's all called the Caribbean. Aruba, them islands, Guyana, and Belize, and then the Caribbean islands, Jamaica, all those islands. The broad, we need about 50 million acres there in the total Caribbean, and 400 million in Africa. And you got to help us for 25 years to give us technical and military support. As we have dual citizenship. You want to be American citizen, you stay American citizen. You want to be the new black state, be the new black state of Native Black Americans. And with that dual citizenship, we'll be able to come in and out, trade amongst ourselves. And that land got to be mineral rich, got to be a minimum like 30 million acres of farmland. Got to be millions and millions of acres of mineral rich mining land. Ports to the sea where we can have shipping. That's our reparation claims. That's the overall of the route we need to take. Because everybody don't want to leave. Everybody don't want independence. Everybody don't want land. Some people just want cash payments. Let them do what they do. Which brings me to opposition. The uncanny opposition to Native Americans getting reparations. Over 60 times, America has paid reparations. Mainly that's Native American. Listen, I'll put under this video, I'll put a link to that university study. That's the University of Massachusetts, the Library University of Massachusetts did this collection. And the Native Black American claims in there thus far are small. I mentioned a few of them, but we have the big one. But you foreigners, you immigrants, you tethers, that's a black person from Africa and the Caribbean coming over to America and claiming to be Black American citizen getting benefits, and you opposing our reparations. That is uncanny. How you could benefit from us building this country, paving the way for you to come. You couldn't come before the 1900s. We had them all black towns. That's why Marcus Garvey came here. Marcus Garvey came here because he admired us, because we were black nationalists. We had hundreds of all black towns, all of them thriving. The most famous ones was Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, T-Town, that was razed to the ground. Rosewood, Florida. Go watch the movie Rosewood by our wonderful brother John Singleton. Let's see what they did to us in them towns. We paved the way for you. Now you're an immigrant coming here with your nose up in the air, your head up in the sky, looking down at us. Because these Caucasian, diabolical, wicked-ass Caucasians that rule this country have put us at the bottom like that. And then you will oppose it. How could you open your mouth? How could you fix your mouth to speak against something that's due to us? A privileged position that these foreigners, you are brain drained to your own countries. America is a magnet for the most scholarly people in countries, in China, Iran. Libyans used to come here, but all the countries that send their top students here. And they pay for them. Nigeria. You bring a lot of professionals, a lot of opportunists too. They got tables in New York City setting up, selling goods, driving Uber and stuff. That's a common man. I'm talking about you that come for school scholarships from India. Especially India. India got some of the highest rates of immigrants, of CIA and FBI agents working against common Americans that there is. India, Eastern Indians. And you come for your professional career and you're looking down at us. Some of you. Not all, but it's too many of you voicing your opposition to our reparations claim. It's our reparation claim. And if you come as an immigrant from Africa and the Caribbean, you do not come in under this claim of Native Black Americans for building the country. You have to do a separate claim. Yeah, right now in Jamaica, they're asking for claims. Jamaica is asking for reparations from Britain. You don't see us going all into your face saying, oh, don't give them no money. All they're going to do is dumb shit people say. All they're going to do is buy jerk chicken with it and dumb whatever in the Jamaican culture that people may buy as luxury or whatever. You don't hear us saying stuff like that about your reparation claim. Haitians. You should seek reparations from France. I don't think you are. You got that sellout misleadership. Most people do. It's rarely any leadership around the world that cares about their native people, their Aboriginal people. Why? Because most politicians are business people. They've been miseducated in American institutions that you love to get into. But if you come from your country, you have a separate claim. You know, this reparation claims is not against racism from the 1900s. This is against for us building the country and not being compensated. You have to make a separate reparations claim from your country that you immigrated from, whether Africa or the Caribbean or South America, and you go to your country, and whatever country colonized your country, that's who your reparation claim is with. This is why immigrating to another country doesn't pay off, because it's a brain drain. Why are you here? This is a racist country. It's a diabolical country. You see all the hell they put us through, but you see that they're creating a buffer class of professionals and cheap laborers for Native Black Americans to scapegoat. Say, look, these are the source of our problem. These people getting these benefits. Knowing how weak we are in militarily, that we don't have an independent military to confront this stuff and put an end to it. So they create a buffer class for us to scapegoat. They say these are the source of our problems, when it's them oligarchs and it's the Caucasian rulers of this country who print the Federal Reserve notes, who have stolen this land, and they are the possessors of the land. You buy the land, you got to buy it from them. Bonds. Up in New York City, those are Bloomberg bonds. You want to buy some bonds? You want to trade on the stock market? You got to buy your $10,000. You got to buy a station from Michael Bloomberg. These are the rulers of this country. These are the possessors, the thieves. These are the robber barons that rule America, that we have a claim against. and they bring in immigrants so that we won't focus on them, and many of us don't. You hardly hear us calling out our direct enemy. We're quick to lash out at scapegoats. And it's by design, it's engineered. But you buffer class scapegoats for you to fix your mouth, to come up and say, oh, you Native Black Americans don't get reparations. We didn't, we came here 20, 30 years ago, however, whenever you brought your sorry ass here. Came here a couple of decades ago. I'm paying taxes. I shouldn't pay for your enslavement. Well, you shouldn't. You come to get a piece of the stolen mountain of gold. We coming to get our claim of mountain of gold. You nibbling off the piece. You shouldn't have your ass nibbling off of the mountain of gold. You come to get more gold for your labor. You came to take advantage of an opportunity to be a buffer, to get more gold for your labor. There's nothing noble and honorable about you immigrating here. It's like, who the hell would immigrate to Nazi Germany? And they got Jews and pale-faced Jews in slave camps, exploiting their labor. Hitler also attacked Africans. Black people were in Germany. That's the first one he started. They'll never speak up for them. Pale-faced Jew will never speak up for black people in Germany. Go Google Rhineland blacks in Germany. Rhineland, Rhineland, Rhineland blacks. It was black people from, Belgium, I forgot the nation they were from, that immigrated to Germany before Hitler. And he the first ones they rounded up, experimenting on and everything, and disgracing and mocking and murdering. You hardly hear about them. What I look like going over to Germany, watching Nazis having Jews and others, gypsies and others, in slave camps, exploiting their labor. Then here I come into the country. I need a job. Well, there's a whole bunch of there's a lot of jobs here. What's the job? Maybe driving a truck somewhere, doing this. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of jobs when you got a bonanza of stolen, exploitive labor. And that's what America is. And America's the apex. She got the biggest one. She's the biggest exploiter in the world, the biggest colonizer. It's an imperial nation. It's an imperialist nation. America is an empire. And you come here as an opportunist, trying to get your, not Pledge of Allegiance, what's that when immigrants do to become an American citizen? Well, I guess you take your Pledge of Allegiance, whatever that is. You come, there's nothing honorable about that. You receiving stolen goods. Or what do you do with somebody that's in possession of stolen property? You get prosecuted. You may not have stolen it, but if you were in possession of the stolen property, you're still part of a crime. And that crime was exploiting us for all those years, robbing us of our talent, our energy, our spirituality. Because the Caucasians that did this to us are soulless. They're devils. Ain't no good in them to put somebody through that. Raping daily, murdering, torturing for fun and glee and giggling, hunting us for sport. Did you know that? Using our babies as gator bait. All type of inhuman thing. I got to stop talking about this and respect the common decency that he doesn't have. Everything evil come up out of him. And he put it on us, and he made us into niggas and Negroes. And now you an immigrant, and we coming to get justice for this, and you will fix your mouth. And even some of you from other nations. Where were you speaking up against other reparations? Where was your voice then? Where was your criticism then? Where was all this trivialization? Every time something come up for Native Black Americans, which the essence of our dehumanization makes white supremacy work. White supremacy teaching is the dehumanization of Native Black Americans. That's how it works here. You had no other opposition to Native American claim. They got the biggest claims of reparation. You don't crack your mouth open one time. For Jews, they got a state of Israel. They got a nation, a state. a racist apartheid state. They're treating the Palestinians like dogs. But as soon as it comes to us, it's trivialization. I was watching, I think even this brother Larry Elder, conservative black man, I think he is Native Black American too, going against reparations for us. Oh, saying white tropes. Or if you get it, all you're going to do is spend it. You know, the black delegation, I think we need to trade Larry Elder. The black delegation need to trade Larry Elder for a box of Marlboros and a Beck's beer. Matter of fact, that's what we're giving you for that Negro. Take that Negro. Take Larry Elder, a conservative, self-hating black man, a Negro, and we trade the black delegation, we trade them. But we giving you a pack of Marlboros and a Beck's beer for that Negro. Please take them. Candace Owens too, 2 for 1. Larry Elders comes up in opposition to reparations. Oh, all they're going to do is wrong. These American taxpayers that didn't own slaves, well, you got a part of the booty. You got a part of the stolen possessions. You got your cut of the stolen goods. And you're paying for it. You shouldn't have brought your ass over here to a wicked-ass country like this. Look at how they portrayed us in TV, cinema. The birth of cinema, mainly around even the world, was in America. That was W.F. Griffin, Birth of a Nation. That was a racist Ku Klux Klan recruiting film that wicked-ass President Woodrow Wilson screened in the White House. Did you know that? They mocked us. The inception of Hollywood is all, and look how they portrayed black people. They blackened up our faces. If you were black, well, mainly black people didn't show up in the movies. They took white people and put blackface on them. And a few rare black people who were in them early Hollywood movies, they had to wear blackface because they had to put on thick red lips and bulgy eyes. The Sambo, the Bully Coon, Uncle Tom, Uncle Ruckus, Sambo, Aunt Jemima. You see them toys they made of us. That's the essence of Hollywood. Even Walt Disney. Elmer Fudd initially was black. Did you know that? Elmer Fudd. That was hunting Bugs Bunny. The sloppy hunter was originally black. And they mocked him. They mocked him. They dehumanized us. Because that's how white supremacy worked. Because these black people are nothing. You know, what we did to them, how we exploiting them, how we robbed them of knowledge of self, miseducate them, gentrify them, displace them, raise their oil towns. They're not humans. That's the image Caucasians portrayed us. They didn't portray you like that. They portrayed us. And Native Indians, Native American Indians, they portrayed us as savages. That's the root. And it's in the school books. They mocked us. Tarzan. That's just in them. That's the sick disease that's in them. They had the freedom to do that. And that freedom showed what was in them. Now, why would I go to a country like that? You're an opportunist. And you speaking up against reparation. I didn't own any slaves. I just immigrated here. I don't have to pay. People are cracking their mouths open to say that. And that's what this live is about, to bring this out. How we need to cancel them and get them out of our way, to shut them up because their argument is silly. America is an apex superpower and a mountain of gold because she stole us, exploited us, abused us, and robbed us of our talent. And in return, gave us the worst treatment any people have suffered in the annals of history for 400 years. But now we're coming out with substance because we are the chosen. That's been fulfilled. But the essence is God. God is what we act on. And what we act on is doing for ourselves. Creating our own culture centers, creating our own institutions to get us up out of this condition and position, a lowly position. You got to make it better. And reparations is going to help us. Because we got to demand it. We got to demand land. We got to demand separation. If you don't want to separate, good for you. You get dual citizenship. Support reparations. It's been proposed in California. It's a good sister on that board, Camila, I believe her name is. Got opposition out there. This in Cobra and this other black or Pan-African organization going against reparations for Native Black Americans. It's sad, man. Everybody wants to undermine us. You will not undermine us in New York. This is coming up in New York. Now, my sister, I forgot the two names. My brother, Carrie Salage's sister, forgot her name. Marjorie Salage, I believe it was, and Taylor Darley are calling on Governor Hochul to open up a commission to discuss. Ain't no goddamn discussion. Just cut the check. Everything has been done. We've documented for decades what have happened to us, the effect it has on us. Dr. Claude Anderson, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Dr. Francis Cress-Welsing, a whole bunch of our scholars. I forgot Brother Foster. All our scholars have weighed the impact of what happened to us. Pay us reparations. Just cut the check. There's no commission needed. Just if you on a late 1800 census, that means you was here. During slavery, you built the country. If you were on a late 1800 census, your family, you can connect your family from there through pictures and DNA tests and stuff like that. Well, then you are Native Black American. You built this wicked ass country, and they owe us. And if you came after that, you are not part of our claim. You're going to have to make a separate claim. Then you're criticizing us. You keep it up, we'll put you on the delegation too. Well, you ain't ours to give anyway, so mind your damn business. Stay out of our business. We need to deal with people like this. These traitors and these people working against us as that buffer class, we need to work against them. And start holding them accountable, punishing them. In New York, if you form that commission, that is for Native Black Americans. And the amounts is simple. It's land and cash payments. $500K each, 500 million acres of land. Technical military support for 25 years. Good land. Because the enemy is, and be careful of these states. States now are trying to make these claims. That could diminish your claim. This needs to be a federal claim. The United States government is responsible for our oppression. They legalized chattel slavery. It is the essence of what they formed out of it. Them wicked ass founding fathers were all slave masters. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. They wanted the freedom to take the land, to exploit us, to build a mountain of gold. And not give Britain any. Britain wanted all them taxes. That's the whole essence of the Tea Party. Taxation without representation. What are Native Black Americans doing right now? Right here in Hempstead. What are we doing? We're taxation with misrepresentation. We got a sellout board. That's why we got to show up Tuesday for the village board meeting and demand the cessation of this gentrification, because it is part of the same plan of exploitation, displacing us, making us nomadic, which the planners and rulers of this country have a well-engineered plan to keep us in this lowly state. We got to elevate ourselves. So that's it, family. I wanted to bring that up. I'll put the link to this. It's not a study. It's the University of Massachusetts. Reparations, the education, laying out how America and its institutions have paid over 60 times of reparations. Poland is asking Germany for $1.something trillion in reparations. Everybody demand reparations from injustice. But nobody's banging on Poland. Now, Germany, you would expect them to say, look, we don't owe you that, man. We're going to negotiate this. You expect that. But why all you goddamn trolls, you bots, and you outsiders, you tethers, and all you others, immigrants, you cracking your mouth open against us? Nobody does that. Go look at us, man. Just because you know who we are. When a murder happens of an unarmed black man by a racist white police officer, go look at how that thousands of people be going on those threads, on those news reports, on the website of the newspaper, denouncing a black man. Where's black fathers? He should have complied. Thousands of people do it. Where do you find us, Native Black Americans, going on when some unarmed white man is killed by the police? Where do you find us denouncing him, dehumanizing him? You see? Where's the white fathers and stuff? Where's all this? We have sympathy and empathy for him. But when we are shot, everyone condemns us. You see, very few stand up for us. Very few are standing up for reparations for us. But you have the gall and the nerve to oppose our reparations. We're going to deal with you. You need to be dealt with. Well, that's it, family. That's the message. Stand up for reparations. We got to do it. Especially, let's go to New York. We got to go to this commission. We got to go to Governor Hochul. We got to go to anyone on that commission and make our agenda plain and simple. Them numbers are simple. 500,000 each or more, depending on how you want to negotiate it. 500, and that's not for New Yorkers. Just whatever you call for that state, that has to be nationwide. California did a good job. But California, you got to get some land. And I know it's a good start, but you got to double that number. From 200, well, I heard someone saying 350 now. Double that number to 500K. And then we can use that commission for us around the country. We use the same commission. We use the same people. If you get that simple as hell and do it federal. That's a good sister, Camilla. Use that sister, get the sister, propose the 500K each, the 500 million acres, the 25-year support, technical and military, dual citizenship, and well, later on, the 400 million in Africa, and a couple of 100,000 acres in the Caribbean islands, and more on the Caribbean, on the North Shore of South America. Dual citizenship there. 5 people that want to go. They've always been trying to get away from white folks. Nobody like you. You have to force this behavior towards us, almost like a dog. You know how a dog has allegiance to somebody? Has it been groomed that way? A dog been grafted that way? A dog been selectively bred that way to be happy towards his master? You remove the opportunity, you take the feed out of the farmer's mouth, out of the farmer's hand, the chick goes somewhere else. The chick is attracted to the farmer with the feed, and the trick is giving money to the prostitute. And the gold digger runs after the man with the gold. Well, America has a mountain of stolen gold. 8,000 something tons of it. And the bulk of it is ours, Native Black American. Family, accept your own and be yourself. We can do it. Let's get our reparations, let's get it unified, let's get it national. But it's good that you're talking state. We like Los Angeles, California, I mean. Just double it, get some more out of that. If you do that, you should be the board that represents the federal. Just take it to the federal. It's that simple. Why are you going to state? That's ridiculous. Just go with that good board. You just got to raise the numbers. And then we take that federal. Then we all can support you. It's easier to support you instead of all this. You see how the enemy is working behind the scenes? To get us, decentralized. And we need their reparations claim to be centralized. We can do it. Because we love doing it for ourselves. We want to be independent. We want to be strong. We love our black culture. Everything about it. Because we the original people. We God. It's our destiny. We just got to love ourselves. Got to know ourselves. Care for ourselves. To act on it. We can do it and we're going to do it. Because we are the best. All right, family. I hope you enjoyed your Sunday. Let me see if any questions here. No, there's no questions. But that's a simple message anyway. Spread that message to others. Stand up for reparations. Let's make a national board. And spread it around the country. Centralize. I pray that your evening is well. I pray that your families are strong. I love you. Stay strong and focused, y'all. We're almost there. Great things are happening. It's a wonderful time to be alive. I never thought that these events would be coming about during my lifetime. But God makes all things happen. Almighty God, Allah, is our God, and He's the guide. And family, I leave you as I greeted you in the ancient Arabic words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Peace unto you. Have a great evening.